When was the last time you wrote a handwritten letter? Not a text, not an email, a real letter. Today, I want to share how a simple tradition can become a routine that builds meaningful connections, is a gift to the people you care about, and a joy to yourself. So grab a cup of tea and join me as I share with you how you can turn this small act into an everyday happiness.
Hi, and welcome to Creating Happiness with Jocelyn. I'm Jocelyn, and I'm so happy that you're here with me today. I made this channel because I wanted to experience more happiness in my life, and I wanted others to do that too. I actually want to share that this week was actually really hard to stay happy. I actually had an event this week with some friends, and it got really close to the event, and I had such a hard week that I decided like I wasn't gonna go, and then last minute I decided to pull through, and I actually had a really amazing time. And it made me remember that it's important that we don't let those momentary stresses and difficulties keep us from those activities that help us feel more like ourselves and help us feel more connected to the people we care about in our lives. I actually ended up feeling way energized, and I was really happy to be able to do this video after, because it felt like a full circle moment where I kind of went from not very happy, not very motivated, to really feeling energized again. So it really enforced for me how important connections are in our life, and that if we want to have more happiness, we have to really foster more of those moments for ourselves and for the people in our lives. So good lesson for me. So I was happy I can share that with you today. The video today is actually about an activity that I think will help all of us feel a bit more paused and a bit more connected. So I was thinking a lot about letter writing. I love letters. I love notes. I love cards. I actually have 3 really big boxes that I've kept all the cards and notes people have given me over my life. And whenever I need some encouragement or just kind of a reminder of the impact I've had on other people, I like to pull those cards out, and it really makes me feel valued, and it reminds me of all the great things about myself, and just reminding me how many people in my life actually care about me. And I think that's a really important reminder for ourselves. So when I thought about letter writing, I thought a lot about being a kid. I actually remembered having like a pen pal, and like how different life is now. I think about like emails and text messages, and they're so great. Like technology has really made life so much more efficient, but in some ways it's really sped up our lives. And I think sometimes the thing that gets in the way of being happy and really experiencing joy is slowing down. And there's definitely something very slow about writing a letter. The other thing I thought about was how we don't really get mail anymore. I think the only thing I get in the mail now is like flyers and bills, and neither of those things are really something to look forward to, unless you like a deal, and then maybe you're into the flyers thing. But I couldn't remember the last time someone had actually mailed me a letter, and I just remember the excitement when you were younger and like you opened your mailbox and there was like an unexpected envelope for yourself. I also thought a lot about like something about me. I love the Victorian times, and there was letter writing was such a huge thing, and actually people would share their letters with their families, and it was just a way of people to connect with each other. And really, one of the things you would put in your letter is sort of what's going on in your life. It was a way of catching up. And what I like about that part of letter writing is it really is like a moment to take stock of your life, because you're kind of deciding what you want to share with someone. And I really like that, being forced to sort of stop for a minute, think about the last time you connected with that person, how much has actually changed in your life, what's been, something you're proud of, something that's interesting. And it really helps you remember that a lot of great things actually do happen to you. And I think letter writing is a good way of doing that. I think something else that's really nice about letter writing is it helps you remember to show gratitude and put in writing how you feel about the people you care about. I think so often, we rush out of our homes. We say goodbye to people when we're leaving dinners or parties, take for granted that we don't actually tell the people in our lives how we feel about them very often. And I think writing a letter is such a nice moment to do that, because you can really just, without worrying about how they'll react or judging your own words, or really even just taking a moment to say it in the way that you really want to say it. Sometimes when you're verbalizing things, it comes out the wrong way. Whereas letter writing kind of lets you take a pause, and do it in a way that you feel really expresses how you want to say it. So I love that as well. And I know every time that I've written something to someone or I've received it, they always comment on how much it means to them to actually hear from others how they make us feel. And I know personally when I get that, it really makes me feel really good. And so letter writing will give you the opportunity to do that for the people in your lives. The other thing I love about letter writing, so at the beginning of this video, I actually showed you a clip of going to a stationery store. I love stationery. It is ridiculous the amount of times that I buy pens and notebooks and cards, and I may not even know who I want to give the card to, but if I really love it, I'll buy it. Just in case, you know, a moment comes up, I'll already have some stock ready to go. And so I think the experience of going shopping with the intention of knowing I'm going to write someone a letter or send them a card is also a really nice moment for yourself to experience some joy in that process of shopping. I really like kind of deciding what's the paper I want to use, or if it's like a fun card that I can include in it. I'll think about sort of what that person likes, what I know about them, maybe what will make them laugh. And so this trip, I actually bought some really beautiful pink paper that has some flowers pressed into it. And I think this is really beautiful and girly. And I got the matching envelopes and just some wax seals to go on it that all match. So this is definitely way more formal, but I also got some fun things. So these are a matching set. So it comes with note cards, it comes with an envelope, but it also comes with this really cute card. And I have already a few people in mind. I know when they receive this, they're gonna laugh because it's really sweet and funny and definitely cute. So there definitely is lots that you can put in your letter that lets people know you were thinking about them and that it was intentional. The other thing about letter writing is you can use whatever you have at home as part of your stock, or even the dollar store has really beautiful cards and stock that you can use to, you know, make it look a little bit fancier if you want. The other thing I wanted to mention, you know, when you're sending someone a letter and you want it to be a little bit more of a gift than just a regular letter, you can include little, they're called like pocket charms. They're really small. They're usually flat that you can put in them, and each one has like a different meaning. I have a few that I've given away that are like, they're about gratitude or courage, and you can include things like that as well, that help people feel like that letter that you're sending to them is just a little bit more of a gift. The other thing I think is that we underestimate how impactful a letter like this might be to someone, especially if you include a few of those small little charms, or you do opt for picking like a nicer cardstock or, you know, a little trinket to go inside, is it really ends up being quite a meaningful gift. We can spend a lot of money buying lots of presents for people, but getting a letter that was written in someone's hand that includes, you know, gratitude, how we make people feel, really ends up becoming something that people will cherish and will look back on it more than once. Whereas I think sometimes when we give someone, not that I'm against candles, but when we give someone like a generic candle, you know, that person's gonna end up putting that candle somewhere in their house and they'll likely forget who gave that to them. Whereas like a meaningfully written card or letter will be something that people will look on and always remember you. And one of the biggest things around happiness is I find when you put out positivity to others, it comes back to you as well. And so I think it definitely builds this cycle of positivity, and you'll make someone happy, and in turn that'll make you happy as well. So building connections with your friends through letter writing is definitely something I'm going to start doing more in my life. I know it's not a usual activity, and so I'm really curious to see how it's going to change my friend group. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about is letters are definitely a great way to build connection with the people in your life. It's definitely a great thing to do if you're celebrating someone's birthday, doing something around the holidays. But I wanted to talk to you a little bit about how letter writing can help you connect better to yourself. So I mentioned a bit earlier how letter writing can give you the opportunity to pause and reflect on your life. And something that's really helpful is letter writing to yourself. Now, I think there's sort of two benefits to doing that. The first one, I think, is a form of encouragement. Now, letter writing or leaving yourself a note that you'll look upon maybe a week or 2 weeks from now with sentiments of encouragement, of, reminders of the goals that you want to accomplish, the things that you're proud of yourself. If you plant that seed beforehand, mail it to yourself or leave it somewhere around your home that you can find later. When you have weeks like I had this week where you find this note or this letter, it can kind of be an encouragement from yourself to yourself. And so I think that's a really nice thing to do, because we can't rely on others for our own happiness. It's definitely something we have to be responsible and intentional around. And so I like the idea of using letter writing to yourself as a form of self-encouragement. So I recommend that as a activity. One of the other things that's really nice, and I think this is a bit more long-term, is thinking about where you want to be in a year and writing to that future self. And I've done this a few years where, I start the year kind of writing all the things I want to accomplish. And as I work through the year, it's really funny how much of it you actually end up doing when you get to the end of the year. And it reminds you to really appreciate the work, the effort, and the time it took for you to achieve those goals. I think we move so fast through our accomplishments and we don't allow ourselves to really marinate and enjoy and appreciate all the things that we accomplish. And I think that kind of letter from the past will help you realize, wow, a year ago, these were the things I wanted, and it wasn't just by accident. I decided I wanted to do it and I made it happen. And so I think letter writing is a really nice way to do that. I think also writing to your future self, you can kind of make, wishes or hopes for who you want to be in a year's time. And I think that's a really nice sort of wish into the universe for yourself. I think about all the times I send good thoughts to other people. Like when someone tells me something they're working on, I'm always showing them like encouragement and happiness around, I hope that they achieve those goals. And it's so exciting. And I feel like this is a way for you to do that for yourself. So just really be excited for your own life and really be your own cheerleader. So I think writing a letter to yourself, your future self, is a really personal, a really intentional activity that you can do to connect to yourself and to your own happiness. So in today's video, I just wanted to take you through something really simple. I really am encouraging to build a routine around it. So I made myself some tea, I lit a candle, I got some really nice paper, I went for a walk, and even just those small activities, like I feel like I had a bit of a eventful weekend just doing these small things. Like I enjoyed the time going to the store, I walked around my neighborhood, I picked up a coffee, and I just really enjoyed being with myself and spending time with myself. And the same when I'm sitting down to get ready to write these letters is, make a cup of tea you really like, light the candle, really make small everyday things feel a bit more special, and I think you'll experience more happiness. So my challenge for you this week and for myself is to write at least one letter to someone in your life, maybe someone you haven't seen in a long time, or even just to yourself. Let me know how it goes. I'll let you know how it goes next week. Other than that, I hope you liked this video. I know it was definitely different than what I've made in the past, but I did want to just share with you a couple of small things that you can do that I think are meaningful, that don't require people coming over. It just requires yourself, your heart, and just some really good intentional thinking. So if you like this video, please like it, please subscribe. Other than that, I hope you have an amazing week. I hope it's filled with lots of love. I hope it's filled with happiness and joy, and I'll see you next week. Bye.